Alright, so I'm going to be opening up and disassembling this Lenovo Legion Y545. We're going to be replacing the keyboard. Let's go ahead and open it up, and I'll show you what the keyboard looks like, because this model is actually very difficult to replace the keyboard on. So let's go ahead and show you this. Alright, let me actually cut it open. Okay, so we did order a different color keyboard because of the price difference. The customer decided to go ahead and get this red and black keyboard. Alright, so if we flip this over, depending on your model, your keyboard might actually be red and black, but this is the original color. Okay, and this is what the replacement one will look like. You do want to make sure that the keyboard looks the same. Alright, it has the same buttons and everything, has the backlight. Make sure the enter and this is the same, because you want to make sure you get the US model. You don't want to get another country's model, otherwise you won't be able to replace this. Alright, and as you can see, there's all these little holes in the keyboard, and those have actually melted plastic mounts that go through it. So we're going to be replacing this. You can see the keyboard cable and the keyboard backlight cable there. Alright, so let's go ahead and start opening up this computer. Alright, I just had a customer message me, so I'm going to have to check that real quick, and then we will continue with disassembling the laptop. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Right, I'm back. So we're going to be using a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. Alright, and we're going to remove all the screws from the bottom. Okay, there's two back here. Alright, this laptop was actually missing a screw, so I actually found a similar size screw. But anyways, there's 4 screws going along this way, and it's always a good idea to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like this on my desk. In the pattern I remove them. So usually I'll go in rows. Even though this one's a little higher, I'll count that as 3 in a row. And then at the bottom there's 4. Okay. If this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it saves you a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computer repairs, so keep that in mind. By the time you see this video, I likely won't have the computer anymore. So hopefully the video will be able to answer at least most of the questions you have. Alright? I'm going to go ahead and continue removing all the screws. There's 4 more down here. I've had one, so I think somebody replaced that screw in the past because the top of that screw is a little bit too big that it's getting stuck. I'm going to try and remove it with a magnet, though it's already unscrewed, so it should be okay. It shouldn't be holding it into place. Yeah, this screw is like stuck in there. It doesn't want to really come out. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we got that screw out. Okay, now that we've gotten all the screws out, we're going to go ahead and pop the cover off. So this cover, we're going to go from here. You can actually see the seam between the palm rest area and the bottom cover. So I get my fingernails in there and I push with my thumbs and pull with my fingernails. You can just use plastic pry tools to do this, but as you can see, this works really well. Hopefully you can actually hear the clip sounds. Okay, so we're just going to go around the side as well. Alright, and then go around the other side. Okay, same thing, just popping it out. As you can see, works really well. Okay, once you've gotten the sides and the front popped out, what you're going to do, we're going to lift this up, and then you can actually slide it forward a little and pull this out. So you can see the sliding mechanism here. Those 2 little clips that just stick out under here. Alright, and then there's these other small clips as well. And yeah, it's pretty dusty under here, so I am going to clean that up and then we'll be back. You can see the fan, all that white powdery stuff, that's dust. Alright, so we'll clean that up and we'll be back. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so we cleaned it all up. Oh, why did this get stuck back down? Let go, please. Alright, here you can see, a lot less dusty. Alright, set that aside. in here's also a lot less dusty. There was some stuff that didn't want to come out, but you can see the fans have a lot less of that white powdery dust on it. Okay, and let's go ahead and start taking everything apart. So first thing you want to do to be safe is to remove the battery. So if you peel this up here, right? All right, we're gonna peel this out. This must have been worked on before because the adhesive was peeled out already. Oh, that's gross. Look at all that dust stuck under there. So I'm gonna have to clean that out. Sorry, I'm turning on the heater. All right. Okay, well, it won't all come out, but it's probably as good as we can do. I can probably use some tape to tape it out, but nope. Whatever. It doesn't really work too well. Just wasted some tape. Alright, so we'll set that aside. You can see. Okay, so this piece, if you weren't sure, it lines up with this little notch here. Okay, and you can actually also look at the old residue to see where it goes. But yeah, it was like this before, and then it wasn't even lined up right on part of it, I guess. But it would go like this, okay, and like that. So I don't know why this adhesive is there, but anyways, let's go ahead and pull this aside. All right, and let's go ahead and continue removing stuff. So we're going to remove the battery first, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and zoom in. You don't technically need to do this to remove the hard drive, SSD, or the RAM, but it's good to do it just to be safe. All right. If you do end up dropping something in the board while you're trying to remove it, you can damage something. Oh, my eyes were playing trick on me. I thought the fan connector was crooked. Anyways, so we removed that one screw. All right, we're gonna remove this screw. Again, make sure to keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. Okay, there's one up here. Okay. And then you got one over here. And one more down here. Alright, so 5 screws in total holding this thing together. Okay. Once you've gotten all those screws out, you can lift from kind of anywhere here, but we're just going to lift it. I'm going to get my finger underneath the connector here. Alright. And then my other finger on top, and we're going to use that to kind of wiggle this connector left and right. And as you can see, the little white dot is kind of slowly popping out. Keep slowly wiggling it. Okay, and there we go. So we got the battery out. It's a little dusty. Let me clean that off. Battery model number is here. All right, you want to check your battery to make sure, but it's L17M3PG2. They have multiple compatible batteries for this model, so you'll kind of want to check. Sometimes the model might be different, but it might still work. The other thing to keep in mind is make sure you plug it in the right way, with the red wires going out towards that side and the black wires going towards this RAM cover. All right, if you have it flipped upside down and you plug it in, you can damage your computer permanently, so be very careful. As you can see, the bottom of the connector, you can see these pins, but the top, it's solid plastic, okay? So that's another way to tell if you're putting it in the right way. Okay, after we've removed the battery, we're going to slowly, carefully open up the screen, okay, very carefully. And then to be extra safe, we're going to press and hold the power button. If you can't really push from here, you can hold from behind and then push the button. All right, we're going to hold that for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on, and I highly recommend it. It only takes a few seconds, so just take that extra time. If you don't do it, there's a good chance you can damage your computer pretty bad. All right, so there we go. Close that up. All right, so next thing, we're going to go over the internal components here. Let me set the battery aside. Okay. So we got the RAM under this cover here. You got the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. Actually, is that a M.2 SATA? Oh, it is PCIe. It says Gen 3 X2, but yeah. So these notches don't always guarantee it's SATA or PCIe, so keep that in mind. This one actually has 2 notches in it, which most of the time it's a SATA SSD, but in this case I can see it says PCIe right here on there. Alright, so we're going to remove the M.2 SSD. Let me actually zoom in a little bit more if I can. Alright, it's a PH1 or JS1 screw, just like the others. Alright, we'll take that out, set that aside. The thing lifts up like this, and then we can go ahead and pull this back. It looks like it's on this little adapter, so I don't know why they use this shorter SSD, but they did. You can use a standard M.2 PCIe NVMe, which is the longer style, but yeah, you will have to get rid of this adapter, and then you can just put the screw straight into here to hold the longer type of SSD. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. If you did want to replace this, you do have to peel up this thermal pad. It's somewhat stuck down. Alright, so there we go. You can see there's one screw holding that in place. But yeah, it's stuck down a little bit to this, whatever this material, maybe aluminum, is. So keep that in mind. If you peel that up, you might have a tough time removing that pad to use on the new SSD. Alright. Next thing, we got the 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. Alright, oh, it says I got a phone call, so give me a second, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back, sorry about that. And let's go ahead and remove the screws holding the 2.5-inch SATA hard drive in place. Alright, there's 4 screws. Let's go ahead and get them. Alright. 2. Get my little needle out of the way. Okay. 3. Oh, why isn't it coming out? Okay, again, you want to make sure to keep the screws in order. Alright, now that we got all 4 screws out, let's go ahead and remove the hard drive. So there's this little latch that you need to actually flip up. I just use my fingernail and just flip it like that. You want to be careful if you use tools, because I've heard a lot of people, they flip these too far and then they rip this connector out, or they maybe when they close it they flip this off. You just use your finger to flip it back down like that. Alright, you just want to slide your finger over it. Alright, so now that we got all 4 screws out and that disconnected, we can, for the latch up, we can lift up the hard drive. I like to lift from one side like this, and then we can kind of wiggle and pull it back. So again, this is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. There's 4 screws holding it in this bracket in place to hold that hard drive. Just have to transfer that over, and yeah. I highly recommend putting an SSD in here if you want it to be more reliable, because sometimes you knock your computer around and then these drives will fail. If you want, and then also for removing this connector, what I usually do is I'll pull it out slightly. It'll form a little gap here, and then you can get a tool or your fingernail in there, and you can use that to kind of help get that out, as you can see. Alright, and then basically you would just transfer this over to the new SATA drive. The reason why I don't just pull on it is a lot of times you can accidentally pinch this cable or pull on that, and sometimes there's like plastic cover here that when you try and pull it, it just comes out instead of actually disconnecting the cable. Alright, so anyways, you got the CMOS, BIOS, RTC, real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call it there. Alright, these connectors, you kind of just grab this and wiggle to pull it out. I actually do have to take that out because otherwise we can't remove the motherboard. So let me actually zoom in a little bit more and I'll remove that. Alright, so it looks like that. You just go at the wings. You can use whatever you want. I use my fingernails. As you can see, it slowly walks out as you pull on it. And there we go. Alright, then we got the RAM cover here. Alright, so to get this out, I just get a fingernail underneath the edge of this. Again, you can use plastic pry tools if you want. Make sure to hold down the motherboard so it doesn't pry that up, and then you can pull it up. Alright, we're going to go around, pry this side up. There you go. We're going to go around here and do the same thing. Okay, if you want, you can kind of just grab this and wiggle it while you're doing that, and there we go. We got the cover off. Okay, so the RAM here, you just pull these 2 tabs to the side, pops up, then you can pull it out. And here's the RAM. It's PC4 2666V, 8 gigs. If you want, you can put any PC4 2666V, or you should be able to. So if you want, you can put two 16 gig sticks and have 32 gigs total. There's the motherboard part number if you need to replace your motherboard. You do want to check your own motherboard because the Lenovo Legion, whatever number I just gave earlier in the beginning, is a more general model number, so it's not the exact spec. It might have different video card or different CPU, so you want to be careful. Make sure to check that yours is the same. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this back. If you're wondering, you can most likely get a model with different specs. So if you want like a more powerful CPU or GPU, because they are soldered to the motherboard, you can most likely swap it out. You can swap the motherboard out with a more powerful one, but keep in mind the thermal setup with all these pads. You want to check and make sure it looks like it'll cover the same thing, because if it doesn't, you're not going to get proper cooling over it, and then you can have problems in the future. All right, so there's this little piece here that's underneath, then you got the GPU, and then you got the CPU here, I believe. All right, so give me a second. I need to close my door before someone starts making noise and walking over here, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I've been getting a bunch of text messages as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and start removing other components. Let's zoom in a bit here. So we're going to disconnect the keyboard connector here. So this, you just flip this latch up like that, and then we can go ahead and pull this out. So the keyboard was bad. I have a feeling it's because of the design here. They had the battery pinching on top here. You can actually see there's like a crease in it. Alright, but anyways, you just pull this connector back. Alright, I wonder, does this keyboard, where does the backlight connect? I don't see the backlight connector. Interesting. Alright, we got the touchpad connector over here, so we're going to flip this latch up and remove that as well. Okay, just like this. Alright, so we got cables going underneath the motherboard. That might mean the backlight is underneath the motherboard. That's going to be somewhat of a pain, but it is what it is. All right, let's go ahead and see over here. Oh, the hard drive's in my way right now. Let me see where I can put this. Okay, so we're going to work our way over to this side. Here you can see the wireless card. We're going to pop these antennas out so you can see the black arrows for the black wire and the white arrow is for the gray wire. Alright, to pop them out, I just go underneath the tail like this and just pop it straight up. Okay, same thing, underneath the tail and pop it straight up. I don't think, oh actually we do have to take the wireless card out, so let's go ahead and remove that as well. So there's one screw holding that in place. It pops out just like the RAM. It'll go up at an angle, and then you can go ahead and pull this out. Okay, so we'll remove that. We'll set that aside. I'm running out of desk space with all the screws and little components that we're pulling out. But yeah, alright. So there's a motherboard screw there. Okay, you can actually see the speaker connector. The speaker connector's right here, right? So you can grab that and you can kind of wiggle this just like that, and then you can go ahead and move this out to the side so it's not in that notch. You want to make sure. So I put it on top. Okay, let's see, what else do we got to remove over here? We got this I/O board, which is for the USB port, as well as this light. And is that the one key recovery button? Let me double check with the case. And yeah, that's the one key recovery button. Okay, so there's a one key recovery button here. I forgot to mention, you can actually push that with a needle through the case. You don't have to take the bottom cover off, and that will allow you to access the BIOS, the boot options, and everything like that. All right, anyways, we're going to disconnect this cable as well. Just flip that latch up, and then let's go ahead and pull this cable out. All right, they do tuck this cable somewhat underneath the fan, so we might have to remove that to help get that cable out. It's not completely tucked underneath, but it is somewhat in the way. Right. Oh, there's a lot of dust under here too. Okay, get that out. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and remove the two screws for the fan here. Okay, again, this is a lot of screws, so hopefully you guys can keep track of all of them. More dust is flying out everywhere into here, so that out. All right, then we got one screw over here. Okay, is that gonna come out? No. Okay, no, the fan holds itself into place, so we can't remove that. Let's go ahead and work our way over. So there are screws hidden under here, so it looks like we are gonna have to somehow pull this piece off. So let's go ahead and see if we can remove that, because there are two screws that were holding it there. So I have a feeling we can actually pull this whole plate off, but it is kind of holding itself pretty strong. So let's see, do I need to get my fingernails or pry tool up in here? Possibly, maybe. Okay, this thing is stuck pretty strong, so I don't know if it will pop off or not. I'm gonna hold the computer in place and try and pull on this and see if it moves. Doesn't seem to want to move at all. So I'm not too sure how we would remove this, but I'm pretty sure it has to go. You can see, like, when I move this part is wiggling too. So let me take a look here. It doesn't look like that's, yeah, it looks like it should remove, it should come out. So let's kind of wiggle and pull it a bit. This thing is stuck on there super strong. Come on. Yeah, I'm not too sure how we would pop this off, but it does look like it needs to come off. Well, let's go ahead and remove the two screws from the fan here first. Okay. Okay, so now we got the fan screws all out, and yes, this is holding itself tight in place. All right, we're gonna go ahead and remove the motherboard screws that we can see here. Of course, this isn't going to release it because there are screws underneath this piece, but remove that screw. There are little white arrows that show you where you remove the screw from, so it's nice. It'll actually help you keep track of it. So there's another screw down here. Okay. All right, what else? I think that might be all the screws holding this down, so we do need to get under this somehow. All right, and we do have to also get this cable out, so you might need a thin tool to kind of slide underneath there. We'll try with this maybe. Okay, to help kind of get this cable up. It's kind of annoying that they've designed it like this. Okay, try and use this tool to go underneath there and get that adhesive out. There we go. So that did work. We're just going to get this cable out of the way a little bit. We're also going to disconnect the fan connector, just wiggling the connector just like the other ones. Just like that. And then I can hopefully put this on top. Okay, this one you can see it's kind of a little wrinkly. Right, there's a lot of dust on this. Let's clean that. All right. So I think I do have to find out a way to pull this piece off, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to want to move, so I'm not too sure how we would do that. Maybe I should put the two motherboard screws back in just to be safe, because it's wobbling the whole thing. So I'm going to put this screw back in and this screw back in. All right. And we do need to find a way to pop this out somehow. All right, let's see. Let's flip this over. Does opening this do anything? Yeah, not really. It gives me a little bit of access over to here, but I don't see anything. Let me try using a thin pry tool here. Okay. I don't feel any clips or anything. It's just stuck pretty strong. Maybe. It's moving a little bit. Okay, I don't know. It's barely moving, but not enough to pop this out, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Yep, that's not gonna come out at all. Alright, how are we going to get this off? I'm pretty sure I've worked on one before and this thing slid off, but I don't know, it doesn't want to come out on this. Pulling it, let's see. Okay, maybe from here we can, I don't know. I can see a gap back there, but it doesn't want to move. So there's a gap all the way across here, all the way over here, and then all the way up to the other side, which looks like it should come out. But for some reason, it doesn't want to move at all. And there's also the crease or gap from here. Come on, let go. Man, I don't know, guys. This thing doesn't want to come out. If I can't get this out, I can't replace the keyboard, so... And this isn't even supposed to be the annoying part that I was mentioning. So... Am I missing something? Are there screws in the back here that I didn't see? No? What's this white stuff? There we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna have to figure this out and then I'll be back. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back and I think I figured it out. I think they actually hid stuff underneath here. So let's go ahead and pop the other fan connector out, just wiggling this. Alright, and we're going to have to remove the heatsink. Alright, so very dumb design. I don't know why they did it that way, but let's go ahead and do it. So 4 screws here holding, or I guess, what is that, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. Alright, so we're basically going to undo all of them. This sucks because now we're going to have to redo all the thermal paste, which I was not expecting to have to do. But looks like we're going to do it anyways. Alright, so this is one of the most difficult to replace keyboards, so keep that in mind. One of the most painful keyboard replacements. So again, hopefully you are watching this whole video before starting or ordering the parts. Okay, we're gonna lift this up. All right, as you can see, the fan is lifting and hopefully we can pull this out. There we go. Okay, so we gotta kind of wiggle this to pull it back. You can see the thermal paste. Maybe it's a good thing this thermal paste on the GPU does look a little bad. The CPU thermal paste is a little more liquidy, but yeah, we're going to be cleaning that up and replacing that later. So the pads we're going to reuse, but the paste we're going to clean it up and get rid of it. So speaking of which, let's get a piece of paper and just wipe off this residue so we don't get it on everything when we work on it. Okay. It actually helps to hold this upside down over a trash can while you wipe this so that all the little bits of paste can fall into there. So I'm gonna have to pause the video real quick, clean this up, and I'll be back. Right, see you guys in a bit. Alright, so we're back. Let's go ahead and continue removing this. As you can see, there's screws hidden under here, just as I thought. Let's go ahead and remove all of those. Again, this is a very annoying, stupid design. I mean, stupid in terms of making it easy to repair. I guess it's smart in terms of making it so people can't repair their devices. I don't know how many of these screws, if we have to remove all of them. I don't really have access to all of them, it looks like. So we have these 2 we can get and these 2 we can get. So we're going to get those 4 out. Alright. This black screw is much longer, so maybe it's just that black screw, whatever. We'll remove all of those, and there's 4 on this side as well. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Once I take off this piece, then we'll know where all the screws are. Technically, if you want to make it easier to work on in the future, you could just put these 2 screws and leave all these bottom ones, but I guess maybe they're helping with the hinge somehow, so let's go ahead and find out. Okay, so we got all those screws out. Let's see if we can pop this out. Yes, we can. And here you can see 3 screws, so the way it lines up, we got this screw, and this screw. So this screw we don't need to remove, but I think it's holding the hinge for the screen. Okay, I'm actually going to put those screws back in. Okay, just to be safe. If I need to open the screen, I don't want it to rip the hinges out, so we'll put that screw in, and we'll put this screw in. Okay, so this looks to be the screen hinges. Alright, now we got access to this. Okay, hopefully this cable is okay. It looks like it was getting damaged by the fan as well. Okay, now we can go ahead and remove the 2 screws down here that we were working on. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove those 2 again. And I also noticed there's a couple screws on the back that we're gonna have to remove as well. So we'll set this thing aside. Alright, so again, there's only those 3 here and those 3 here, and then also of course these 2 in the back. Sorry, these 2 back there, but we'll set that aside. Okay, as for screws back here, there's one here. It looks like someone tried to take it out and stripped it out, so we'll see what's going on there. Hopefully it will come out easily. Okay, good, it does. So take that screw out. Alright, and then you got 2 screws here holding this metal plate in place, so we're going to remove those as well. Okay, if your charge port breaks, looks like it's a huge pain in the butt to remove this. You will have to redo the thermal paste and everything. Alright, they do mark these with M2 by L5, so 2 millimeters wide, 5 millimeters long. Okay, this is the lock mechanism, I believe, so we'll set that metal plate aside. Don't forget to disconnect the LCD or LVDS connector here. We're going to flip that latch up just like that. Then we can go ahead and pull this connector out and move that over to the side. Alright, and I think that's all the motherboard screws, so let's zoom out and see if we can pop the motherboard out. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Another scam likely. Let me see who it is just in case. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Don't really need to zoom out that much, I think. So we're going to go over here. Again, hopefully you peeled up this already. And now let's go ahead and lift the motherboard out. You want to lift very slowly in case something is caught underneath, like the keyboard backlight connector, or in case you forgot some screws. Okay, so we're going to slowly, carefully pull up on this. Oh, it's stuck. Is there another screw there? No? What's holding this down? Alright, so for some reason this side comes up, but this side is stuck on something. Did I miss a screw somewhere? It doesn't feel like it. Is this plastic, or is this thing holding onto the motherboard? It shouldn't. Okay, what is holding this? There. Okay, it was stuck with some sticky tape or something. Alright, so we're going to slowly, carefully lift this up. Alright, if I'm right, then the keyboard backlight cable will be underneath down here. So move all these cables out of the way, get them underneath the motherboard. Want to be careful not to damage them, of course. And yeah, I can actually see the little cable down there. So we're going to flip this over here. There we go. And we're going to disconnect the keyboard cable. Sorry if you can't see, let me move this. So same thing, flip that latch up and pull that out. And you actually have also the trackpad cable here that's attached, and then that other I/O board connector. It's a little bit dusty here, but not too bad. I will dust this off real quick and I'll be back. Alright, so we cleaned that up a bit. Apparently the power button is part of the motherboard, so on the bottom there's the power button there, which is also a bad design because a lot of people break their power buttons, but it is what it is. Here you can see where the power button comes through to the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna now set the motherboard aside. Okay, alright, set that aside. You want to be very careful with that because it is sensitive to static. Okay, it's pretty dusty in here as well, so let's actually clean that up a bit. Okay. Alright, so here you can see they have this, what is this, metal things that stick up. We're probably going to have to peel this whole plastic piece off. And then, get the trash can out of my way. So this is what makes this repair a pain. So if you look under here, there's all these bits of plastic here. Plastic, okay? And that's actually holding this metal plate in place to hold the keyboard down. So, okay, let me peel this stuff up so I can see underneath. We're gonna have to peel this whole thing out. You want to be careful because they put little cuts in this, and if you peel like the opposite direction of those cuts, it's most likely going to end up tearing this plastic. This plastic is there to kind of help with preventing it from getting shorted out on this metal piece. So we're just going to peel this all up. And again, you want to be careful. So I don't know, they put all these cuts in it to make it so you can easily tear it. So again, you want to be very careful and peel this up very slowly. Okay. So we got this over here. Is this part of it? No. Okay, so we're going to slowly, carefully peel this up. I mean, we'll probably end up tearing some of it, but do your best not to. Okay. So now it's getting caught on these parts that are where the holes for the screw mounts go. So there we go. Okay. Slowly peel. Here we got another tricky one with this little all-around circle thing. And I hate this design. Okay, I'm just going to keep peeling. And you want to go slowly. Try not to stretch this too much. Alright, we're going to peel the keyboard connector off of here as well. Alright, so it helps to kind of hold the plastic down, and then you want to try and keep the thing flat, so pull that way while you're kind of peeling it up. So you can see. Okay, just like this. There we go. I mean, the keyboard's dead, so it doesn't matter if you tear that cable. But let's go ahead and continue peeling this up. Alright, we're getting there. Okay. So it's coming out. Come on, let go down there. There we go. Alright, we're almost there. Peel this up slowly, carefully, and there we go. Alright, so actually this one came out nicely. Didn't really stretch much, and we didn't tear any of that. We'll set that aside. Okay, hopefully I'll remember to put it back. Oh man. Looks like they're hiding thermal stuff under here as well. I don't know if they're hiding melted plastic bits there as well. Actually, there are, so you can actually see here. So we're going to have to get underneath that as well, it seems. So I'm going to use this plastic razor blade and see if I can get under there. That's very annoying. Okay. Oh no, this thermal stuff is not going to stay intact, is it? So, you gotta just be very careful peeling this, but we're going to end up with it torn in shreds, so can't be helped. Slowly, carefully peel it up. Here you can see there are melted bits of plastic there. I don't know how important this thermal pad stuff is, but there's no way to completely save it, so I don't know. Let's try and get underneath here and see if we can save as much as possible. Yeah, that's not really coming out. That's just going to tear to shreds. Okay, well, it is what it is. We're just going to peel it up, and whatever survives, survives. Whatever doesn't, doesn't. Okay, and just like that. Is what it is, and hopefully, okay, you can see this thermal pad stuff didn't really survive very well. Okay, I hate companies that do stuff like this because there's no way you can get to these things without peeling that off. So it's all nice and smooth here, so hopefully that means there's nothing. I think this is graphite. All right, you can see I can actually smooth it out. So luckily, I don't feel any bumps so far underneath, so I think we should be okay, because the main one we needed was this, and these tiny ones here. Okay, Now, how am I going to get this whole thing out? Let's go ahead and remove this USB port here. There's a lot of screws and a lot of pieces, so again, I told you this was going to be a pain. Alright, let's go ahead and get that out. If you can find the entire palm rest assembly with the keyboard and everything built in, I highly, highly, highly recommend going with that option. Okay. I mean, you can see how much of a pain it is removing this thing. And then if you go and replace the keyboard and the keyboard doesn't work, oh my goodness. That's the worst thing ever. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Do we have to melt and remove this as well? So we might actually have to remove the screen as well. Shoot. Okay, I guess we gotta remove all of this. So let's go ahead and try and peel up the LVDS connector here. There's some adhesive, so try and peel that up as well. Make sure that comes up with the cable. Okay, peel that up, slowly, carefully peel that up. There we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove all the screws that are holding this stuff into place. So, okay. Usually to make this easier, you're gonna wanna open the screen to about 90 degrees. So we're gonna open it. All right, so we have the screen open like this. All right, and then what I usually will do is I'll hang this off the edge of my desk. Let's see if I can actually get this recorded. Let's zoom out. You're gonna see my legs over here, but let's go ahead and zoom out. You probably see all the junk on my desk as well. Okay, zoom out a bit more. I know it's blurry, but can't really do much else. All right, so let's go ahead and remove all these hinge screws. So if you want, you can actually mark these so you know where each one came from. I'll take a Sharpie and I'll just mark it like this. So I'll mark this screw here and then mark a line. Do that if you want. And this will help you know where you took each screw from. Okay. Just like that. I mean, you can't really see it too well, but let's see here. I know it's blurry because it's on the wide angle lens, but anyways, let's go ahead now and remove all the screws holding the hinges in place. You want to be careful while you're doing this. You don't want to drop the screen on the ground. Okay, so we'll get those two out. Okay, it looks like the screw's also going under here. So, sorry if you can't really see, I'm removing all the remaining screws. There's 4 screws also holding up here where the power button thing is, so we'll remove those as well. Again, sorry I can't really get a good view, but I'm doing what I can. Okay, we're gonna remove all 4 of those. I don't know if all these screws need to be removed, but I'm removing them just to be safe. Okay, I think this plastic piece will come out after we remove this one. Okay, let's see if we can pop this off. It's actually holding pretty strong. Let's go ahead and remove the last 2 hinge screws here. Last final hinge screw, at least what I can see. Okay, will the hinge even come out? And it's lifting slightly, going underneath this plastic piece. And is it going to slide out though? That's the question. Okay, I can actually see the hinge mechanism here, but how do I get this off? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm holding it like this and I'm kind of wiggling this. Yeah, it doesn't want to come out. I think we have to remove this plastic piece on top somehow first. So let's wiggle this a little. How can we get this off? I see like clips here, but I don't know how to disengage them. So can we pull from this side somehow? Oh, okay. So we pull from this side and then unclip that if you can. Jeez, this is tough. We got one side up. For some reason, this other side, there we go. Okay, so there we go. We got this piece out. We did have to kind of pull from that side, but we got it, and we can actually clean that out a bit. And now the hinge comes out freely. So we got the screen out there. Nice. Okay, we need to set this somewhere safe. So, yep, let me actually clean this up and I'll be back. All right, back. So we cleaned that out. I cleaned out the hinges as well. Make sure you know which way this goes so you can put it back later. Set that aside. And now we have this very dumb design. Okay, let's see. So they have melted plastic holding all of this in place. Then you got screws holding this in place, and then you got this holding it in place. So let's see, how are we going to get all these plastic bits off? I might have to use the Dremel that I just got. Normally I would just drill these things out, but the plastic's rounded like this. It's not flat, or some of these, they actually have like little holes in the center, so it's easy to just use a drill to get them out, but some of them are not. All right, we're gonna have to get these cables out of here, so let's go ahead and lift this metal up slightly and pull these out. Okay, get that out, and then we're gonna get this out. All right, so we just need to move that to the side. I think for some of them I'll use the drill, and then for the ones where they're like this, I'll use a razor blade, and then for the ones that I can't use the razor blade, I'll probably have to use a Dremel. So again, I kind of warned you guys, this is going to be a pain in the butt to repair. But yeah, okay. So let me go get a drill and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, so we're going to attempt this with this 3/30 seconds bit, and we're basically going to drill all the ones that have the little divots in it. So let me see if I can show you this. Hopefully I can get a good view and you guys will be able to see. So we're going to remove this one here. Okay, so we're going to just get the drill in there, and then we're just going to drill that out, and as you can see, the plastic just comes out. Okay, so we're going to have to drill a lot of these. Actually, I'm going to use a larger drill bit because I don't want it to actually go through the hole here. I just want it to drill the plastic around it. So let me see what size bit will work better, and we'll switch to that. Let's see, maybe I have to go up a few sizes here. So 764, I don't know what the metric one is, but that's what it is on here. So this looks like it'll work okay, but we can probably even go one more up just to be safe. So we'll do this 1/8 if it works. Let's see here. Okay, so I'll do the 1/8 one. That way the moment it hits the metal, then we will know and stop, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So right now, as you can see, there's some plastic still left there. Let me see if using this will help. Okay, and I'm using this on the torque mode, not the fast mode, so I switch it to it makes the same sound, but it's actually spinning slower. Okay, so let's go ahead. We got that one. Maybe I should mark it, and then I can actually even use a 3D printer pen to melt new plastic into there. But with all these screw mounts, it's probably not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyways just to be safe. All right, so we're going to mark that, mark that, mark that, mark that, mark that, mark that, mark that. Okay, we're probably going to have to take all these other ones out as well, so we'll mark that, mark that, mark that, mark that, and mark that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here because this one, they don't actually have all of them. Okay, since it's not every single hole that's with the plastic, I'm going to mark it so I can know where to put plastic back if I need to. Okay, so on the keyboard side, I think the plastic just goes through everything, so we don't need to mark anything there. All right, we'll set this marker aside. Okay, and let's go ahead and continue drilling through all of these. So you got this one. Okay, it drills off pretty easily, so that's nice. I need like a drill bit with a sharp point that can somehow grab into those other small ones, but not really eat through them. Okay. So this is a long, tedious process. If you're wondering why I'm recording the whole thing, it's because I like to document the entire process, and then also I can show the customers how much of a pain this kind of stuff was. But let's go ahead and get this. It's not all coming out. There we go. Might help to have a vacuum too, to just vacuum this stuff up after, but I'll just take it out and blow it out with my electric air blower once I'm done. Okay, this one. Okay. Then we got all these going around the perimeter. Okay. This one's not on a completely round. Shoot, let me try with a razor blade. So this one, they actually have the metal, not a full circle around it, so I'm gonna have to try and cut this one off. So much more difficult, but okay, I think I got it. Okay, let's go ahead and get the rest here. Using a drill makes this a lot easier, right? Other people will use something and melt it, but yeah. All right, so we got all of those. Let's see if we can pop this out somehow. Come on, it's holding this down. Actually, did they weld this together? Okay, I think they actually might have welded these metal pieces together. Yeah, okay. So we can't lift this metal piece out separately. Oh, I missed one here too, so let me actually mark that one. Oh, I accidentally used a black Sharpie instead of blue, but it's okay, same thing. Let's drill the last one out. All right, so this actually, yeah, okay. So this is all one piece. They welded it. It looks like it's a separate piece on top, but it's not. So we're just gonna go ahead now and just continue drilling out all these little plastic bits here, okay? That's a pain. Alright, if you bought a keyboard, now's the time to turn back and order the entire palm rest assembly. Yeah, it's so dumb, this design. Okay. Alright. Getting there. Slowly but surely. Okay, let's get all these out. Need to move stuff out of the way. So with these screws, I guess you technically don't need all the plastic here, but if you want the keyboard to have a nice firm feel, then you will actually want to try and redo all of it. Okay, so let's get all this out. This one's on the edge again, so I'm going to leave that alone, and we're going to use a razor blade to cut that one off. It's actually sometimes grabbing into the metal. Okay. Okay. Get all of them out. Oh, I didn't mark this one either. Okay. Alright, so this one I'm going to use the razor blade. You want to use it in a slicing motion. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it's completely cut enough. Yep. Right, you can see now we can lift this side slightly as well. Okay, we got the middle here out as well. How are we going to get all these little tiny ones? Take a look here. Are they hiding one under here? I'm not sure. Let me see. Oh, I'm actually zoomed out too far. Sorry. Or zoomed in too far. Okay, let's see if we can get under here. And are they hiding any more underneath this foam? They're hiding one under this foam. Of course they are. Okay, so we're gonna have to remove that. Okay, let's move this foam out of the way, and let's drill this one first, I guess. Oh no, come on. There we go. Alright, these tiny ones are going to be a huge pain in the butt. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go along down here to get all these out. This one doesn't look melted, so we'll leave that alone. This one's a little lopsided, so I don't know if I'll get it. Let's see. Okay, it's working. Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, we're running out of room over here. If this doesn't work, then that's gonna suck real bad. So keep that in mind if you are planning to repair the keyboard. I would say just use a USB keyboard and then wait until you can afford a new computer if you have to do this kind of job. But if you want to do it just to say you did it, more power to you. You do want to record it, then you can actually show people. Be nicer. All right. Getting there, we're getting there. Oh, this one's not working right. I'm gonna have to use a razor blade on that. Okay, let's cut the one that's stuck off here. There we go. All right. I think we got most of it up. Is this one gonna come out? Yep. Okay. Alright, we're getting there. Now we gotta somehow get all these little tiny ones off. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Can I do that with the razor blade? I don't know. The ones in the middle I can definitely do, like these, because they're on a flat surface, but the ones in this groove down here, I don't know about that. We'll find out. Okay. Right, these little ones are pretty easy to cut off, but there's a lot of them all over the place. And even after we get this metal plate off, the keyboard itself has even more, so yeah, this is a huge pain. I don't know if anyone's even going to be watching this video, but we'll see. They'll probably watch and be like, that's not happening, and yeah. These tiny ones, you can probably just tear the keyboard cover out and it'll probably break them, because a lot of them I'm just trying to cut and then they kind of just snap off. So maybe I don't actually, oh yeah I do. Some of them are kind of stuck. If you just try and yank it out, it might actually bend this thing, so if you want to try that, just be careful and keep that in mind. Alright. Okay, there's this bigger one here. Come on, cut it, please. Go. This one's somewhat in a groove, so it's hard to get to, but there we go. Almost there. One more up here. Okay, and now I don't know how I'm going to get those tiny ones, but we'll try with the razor blade. Maybe at a weird angle I can just pry them off. Maybe it might be better with a screwdriver. I don't know. Oh, that works. I have to kind of cut a little while I'm kind of prying it, and then it just snaps off, I guess. Actually, this one's having a hard time. Yeah, maybe a flathead screwdriver might be easier. I don't know. Let's try. We'll try a small flathead screwdriver. If you do this with a flathead screwdriver, make sure you have a good quality one. Otherwise, it'll probably just snap, but I can chip bits of it off. Okay, I'll just clean it up later. Alright, so we're going to turn it this way and make it easier to work on. And we're just going to chip that thing up, I guess. Yeah, this repair's a huge pain. It's worse than I was thinking. Alright, let's see, let's go over here and get all these out. Oh, the clip in here is actually even coming out. Okay, there we go. Oops, I dropped one of my screwdriver bits. Let me clean off the table, all this plastic. So I'm gonna have to actually clean this up outside because I don't want to get all this plastic everywhere in here. So let's zoom out a bit and let's see if we can pop this out or if it's still stuck somewhere that I'm not seeing. So lift this up here. What? What is this adhesive they put there? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna start from this side then. Okay, you can see it's popping up. Did we miss anything? Okay, it's all popping up. And we're gonna tuck this cable underneath. Okay. And I don't know what this, they put a adhesive tape here, so we're gonna, I guess it's on top, so let's try and get that out. Okay, interesting. Alright, so let's see if we can now get this off. Did I leave something? Oh, it's a little bit still stuck here. Hopefully that's the only one. Okay, let's lift up over here and work our way down, and there we go. Alright, so we got this metal plate off, and we're not done yet. Make sure to clean off any loose plastic bits there. Okay, now, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I think I'm just gonna force the keyboard through, because you see all these little holes? That's all holding the keyboard down. Man. What? They had a keyboard key just fall out randomly. Okay, well, we don't need that. This is going to be a pain. I don't know what I'm going to do to get these out. I guess we'll try with the screwdriver still. Flathead screwdriver. Let's see if we can pop all of these off. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that, man. I don't know how I'm going to actually even get all of these back in place. It's going to be a pain, huge pain. Okay, well, now that we got one corner up, I'm going to see if I can just push it all through. Or pop it all through. Let's see. Nope, this is stuck too strong here. Because this keyboard's already broken, there's no point preserving it. So, once we get part of it up, let's see if we can hold the plastic down and then just pull it through. There we go. Yep, that's working. And that's working. Okay, I'm going to do this outside because I don't want all this plastic ending up everywhere, but basically grab this and just rip it out. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, so I cleaned it out. We got the keyboard out, as you can see. Alright, that's what it looks like. We're going to get the replacement. The replacement looks like this. Alright, so as you can see, the back looks pretty much about the same. Alright, so we are going to have to worry about folding these cables about the same way. So this one's going to go out like that. You can see they didn't have this creased. Well, there was a crease, but it's not supposed to be folded. And then you have this one. There's actually two lines here. I don't know why, but they folded it slightly higher than the actual line. So I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. If you fold it on the actual line, you'll have a little bit extra slack here for when you plug it in. So I kind of feel like it should be folded on that line, not the way they did it. And that might be why it got creased on the battery, by the battery. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it at that line. All right, so where this line is, I'm just going to fold that. Okay, so just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, all right. And you don't want to bend this back and forth too much, because if you keep messing with this and bending it, you can actually damage the cable. So we're going to just do it like that. They have an adhesive here that wasn't being used by the old one, so I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, I'm not going to peel off that adhesive thing. Now what we're going to do, I got a 3D printing pen that's already heated. All right, and what we're going to do, we're going to get this keyboard back in where the old one was. All right, make sure to get it all popped into place, because some of the little melted plastic things sometimes might not be lined up right. Okay, and then what you got once we've done that, we're going to basically melt all these little plastic things back in place, okay? So I'm using a 3D printer pen so I can actually add plastic as needed. All right, I'm going to set it on the slower extrusion mode. But yeah, so I warned you that this keyboard replacement is going to be a pain in the butt. So hopefully you watched through and decided whether it's going to be even worth it to attempt or not. Okay, so we're going to melt that into place. Okay, and now that should hopefully hold that corner, and yes it does. Okay, do that with all of them. If the plastic is too small, you might have to add extra plastic. That's why I use the 3D printer pen, because not only can we melt the posts that are there, we can actually add more plastic if it's not enough. Alright, so I'm actually pushing from the bottom to push the original pegs through, and then I'm just melting them in place. But again, if it's not enough plastic that's left over, you might have to add plastic using the 3D printer pen, so keep that in mind. Alright, so far, because we just ripped it out, we didn't cut it, there's more exposed plastic that's sticking up through the holes, so we can just actually melt this down, and it's enough to hold the keyboard in place. Wow, this one was actually sticking up quite a bit, so okay, and we're just going to keep working our way over, melting the plastic. Again, if you need, you can add more plastic if you have a 3D printer pen like this. Okay, so you can add more as needed. Alright, so far the plastic that's remaining there is enough. But if you ever have to do this in the future, you're very likely going to have to add plastic. Hopefully I'm getting everything in view of the camera, because I'm too focused on what I'm doing, so I'm not really looking too much at the camera. Okay, I'm just getting a little more plastic in there. Alright, this bottom corner one doesn't have much plastic, so we might have to add a little. Yeah, looks like it might be okay. That's too much plastic, so I'm going to have to clean this off. Okay, so this actually has a little bit of white plastic still left in it from the last time I used it, which is okay, because then you can actually see if you're adding the melted plastic. Oh, geez, it keeps coming out on its own. So I need to make sure to pull it back a little bit, just so it's not too much plastic. I wonder if they have a 3D printer pen that's a bit more precise, because this one, oops, nope, stop. I didn't mean to put that much. There we go. So this one, sometimes it'll keep pumping out plastic, as you can see, even though I stopped, because it's, once it melts, it's a bit elastic, and it's not exact. So you gotta be very careful. This one has a lot of plastic sticking through, so we can just melt it down. Looks like they actually didn't even melt it too close to the frame, so actually there's quite a bit of plastic on each one of these that I can just melt down, and it works perfectly fine. Okay, and since I'm actually physically holding each key, squeezing it against the plastic frame, it's actually getting a better tight fit than from the factory. So I don't know, the factory didn't press it in all the way when they did it. What is this stuff here? Okay, I need to brush that off because I don't know what that is. We don't want contaminants in there. Alright. To be careful, there's all these screws and everything everywhere. Okay. As you can see, or hopefully you can see, we're just actually melting the... Oh, this one didn't have enough in it. Push through, so I'm going to add a little bit of the plastic. Oh, not that much. This thing's a little sensitive. If I press it twice too quick, then it auto extrudes, and I don't want that feature. So the center is going to be a bit more tricky to do. Come on, I just need a little. Trying to be careful not to extrude too much at once. This is a painful process, come on. There we go, just a little bit. Okay, hopefully that's enough. Continue working our way over. Perfect. Alright, this is working well. I don't know if I should just zoom out a bunch more. I have to be careful, there's all these screws. Uh-oh, too much is coming out at once. I need to clean that off again. Okay. That's the only downside to this is it doesn't work too accurately. Okay. Good thing is most of them have some plastic left that I can just push down and melt into place, and I don't really need to add much. Alright, so that's nice. Okay, this one. When we go to put back the other one, we're probably going to have to add a bunch of plastic because we cut off the top so it's not sticking out anymore. Okay. Wow, this one's sticking up pretty high, so that should be good. Okay. Alright. It's a little bit difficult to get the ones lower here because I don't have a way to kind of, my hand can't reach around to both push from the bottom and the top. So it's a little bit tougher. Let's see if I can do it this way. Okay, while it's flat on the desk, maybe it's okay, at least for the edges. Let's see, can I push it more? A little. Okay, I guess we'll just add some. Come on. Too much. Man, it's not precise enough because I only need a tiny bit. Come on. There we go. Come on, stick on. There we go. Okay. Alright, we're getting most of it. This is working well. So far, so good. Let's continue melting these. Again, a lot of them already have enough plastic that I can just push it down, melt it into place, and it works. And with the extra metal plate on top, it should hold well. Okay. Let's see, these edges might be a little worse. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just doing the edges first, I guess, since easier access, or that way it will hold the rest in place, hopefully. Nope, too much. Actually, that worked. Okay, perfect. Okay, these ones I think I cut, so I'm definitely going to need plastic. Yeah, this one's completely... I don't know if it will even stick because it's cut a little bit too deep, I think. Hopefully the outer metal plate will hold this one better. The rest all are meltable. Perfect. All right. It's pretty awkward trying to squeeze both layers, especially as you get closer down into the center of the keyboard. But, all right, let's try leaving it on the desk, and then hopefully we can get this one. Good. Okay, we're almost there. We got one down here. I hope this keyboard's not going to have any issues, because that's going to be a huge pain. Okay, I'm going to add some plastic to this one. Make sure it's holding in well. Okay. Almost there. Oh, this one I can't reach, so we're gonna get this one. Sorry if I'm going out of view. Might be too deep, but put some plastic in there. All right. Okay. If yours has these little plastic posts that are still sticking up, you can actually use anything to just melt and push them down. You don't have to have a 3D printer pen, but it makes it easier. Okay, I think we got them all. I'm gonna take a look, close-up look at all of them, make sure all of this is melted in place. I know I'm not showing it to the camera, but I'm holding it to my face so I can see better, so I missed one. Okay, I think that's the only one I missed, so okay. Let's go ahead and melt this last one in the center here. Maybe let's add a little bit more just to be safe, because this is holding the backlight circuit. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom out. Okay, let's get the metal plate that we pulled off. Make sure that you do thread this back through. So these, very important, you get the keyboard and keyboard backlight connectors threaded through here. Okay, if you forget those, then you're gonna have some problems later. So very important, make sure you get those in. All right, get everything lined up. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, got all of that lined up. So we have all those plastic pieces. I don't think, do we have? Okay, no, we do need to leave that in there. I was gonna put the screws first, but I don't think we can. All right, so how am I going to do this one? So, oh, that's why they folded it not on the line. So they folded it based on this metal plate. Okay, make sure the CMOS battery cable is also on top. All right, that one got underneath somehow. Get it back on top. Okay, and that's why they have a crease there, is for that. Okay, so basically what they did was they just folded it along this, so I didn't even need to fold that originally. Okay, so now to melt all of this back into place, let's zoom in. Probably gonna need more of this filament so that I can continue melting plastic here, but let's go ahead and do this. Oops, I changed it to less hot. Okay. Come on, there we go, too much maybe. Hopefully that's okay, if not I'm gonna have to cut it. Okay, I'm just pushing it by hand to cool it down quickly. Get some more melted plastic in there. There we go. So basically make sure it melts the bottom part, and then you can go ahead and on top to push it through. Okay. Go, make sure, oops, make sure it melts through to the bottom, and then just pile it all up in a lump and push it down. All right, and we're basically just gonna do this for all of it. Push it all back in and push down that lump. All right. And push it into the center. All right, and push that down. All right, melt it in. Push that all into the center. And then press. Go. We got this one here. Now this thing is hot. Okay, push it all into the center. Lump it all together. And push. Alright. Melting through. Lump it all into the center. And push. Okay. So hopefully you get the idea. You can actually just go through and do this on all of them. You don't have to watch me. But you're welcome to watch just to see how much of a pain this kind of repair is. Okay. Alright. Get this one up here. I'm going to need to use more of the filament real soon. Okay, put that and push. Okay. Go in, lump it all together, and push. And go over here. Oh, I ran out of that filament, so I'm going to need a new one. I'm only using like really small pieces of the filament, so that way it's easier to maneuver. Otherwise, it starts going out of control. There's way too much there, and it's harder to maneuver the 3D printer pen when you have it stuck to the roll. Okay, so this I already have too much, so we're just gonna push that all in there, melting it together. The nice thing is this is somewhat indented, so if it's lumpy or overfilled, as long as it's within that, it should be okay. Alright, so I'm going to add a little more of the filament to the back here. This should be enough for the rest of it. It's all curled up. But... oh, is it pushing it out even though there's just air in it now? Interesting. Okay, somehow it's pushing out a bunch more filament, so I have to be careful. Okay. So we got all of that. We're going to go on to this side now. I'm going to flip it upside down and hopefully I have enough room to work on it. Okay, kind of, yep. That's too much. Okay. Have to be careful not to push out too much. Okay. Oh, too much is coming out at once. Okay. It keeps coming out too much. There we go. Okay. Now, because the stuff that's in there got pushed all in, it can't. Usually, it pulls back a little bit to prevent it from having too much. Now it's just completely going on its own. Alright, almost there. Okay. Now it's just pumping out too much on its own. Okay. We'll have to clean this stuff up. It's all stringy over here. So this is basically like a extra high temperature glue gun. You can think of it like that, except this doesn't push out glue, it pushes out just melted plastics. Okay, now this stuff is all stringy on me, so I need to, it feels like spider webs. Okay. Okay, this one's a little bit messy. You can kind of break it off and clean it up a little bit. Okay, did I miss any? Oh, I missed this middle one here. Okay, let's take a look at what we got and then we'll continue. So, got all the top ones. Oh, there's a lot of excess, so we're gonna just clean that up a little. Might have to actually melt it to clean it up better. Yeah, let me use this to clean it up. It's gonna have those little stringies, but it's okay. Okay. Cutting off the excess here. Oh, it's turning itself off. Stop it. I'm not done yet. Okay, it turned itself off. Alright, so we cleaned that up. Let's see what else. This side, we'll clean it up a little as well. Okay, you want to check, make sure all the things are filled back. Looks good, looks good. Okay, looks good over here. I think I got them all. Alright, now we gotta do these mini ones over here. The cable's a little bit in my way. There we go. Okay. Come on. I only need a tiny bit. Oh, too much. Cut off. Alright, and we'll get a little bit out here. Okay, melt a little bit here too. Okay. Make sure it's good enough. There we go. Getting there. Uh-oh, this stuff is just straying out all over the place. It's like spider webs. Okay, get off of me. Okay. Okay, working our way over. Okay. Getting there. Okay, I think we're good in terms of those larger ones. All right, let's get the bottom ones in. Okay. And once we get all of these, the little ones should be able to hold pretty well. We're getting there. Let's cut off all this excess stuff. Okay. All stringy here. All right. Let's keep working our way over. So we got that. All right. The little ones, I don't know if I'm going to be able to put them back. The ones that are directly over the keyboard. But we'll see what we can do. Because it's too thin, so the heat likely won't travel through to melt the plastic below. And if the plastic below doesn't melt, then it won't stick to the new plastic. So, okay. Do I need to push from the back? It doesn't really affect it much. Okay, so we'll just keep doing from the top here. And off. Come on, there we go. Alright, we're getting there. Okay. Almost cut all these bottom ones in. Oh, that's a lot of melted plastic. Too much. There we go. Okay, getting there. Okay, let's lift this back up. Get underneath there and get this one. Okay, and then this last one in this corner, as far as the big ones go. Okay. Now all that's left are the tiny ones, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna do those. I guess we'll find out. I do need to eat lunch first, but alright, so let me undo this one for now. Let's take a look at the back and see what we got. So we got the keyboard like this, and it actually feels good. Feels good like new. Alright, so we'll see what we can do. I don't think we really need to put back those tiny ones, but I'll do what I can. This middle one too. Alright, so I'm gonna go have lunch real quick and I'll be back. But let's go ahead and at least put these cables back in. Okay, so just thread these back under. Just like this. Alright, then back over this way. Then I think these went around the screw, so under here. Okay, like that, and then like this. Alright, hopefully that's correct. And yeah, I'm gonna go have lunch and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back and we're gonna go ahead and try and get these ones melted. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the ones in the center because they seem like it actually pulled the post out when I was cutting them. So most likely it's not gonna really do anything if I put the stuff there, so we're just gonna leave it as is. Alright, so let's go ahead and do these. These ones are actually melting quite nicely. Alright. So these actually, the post actually stayed, and there's actually a little bit of extra that I can just melt it and it stays in place. I don't even have to add plastic here. If there's not enough, I can add more, but it looks like it's good. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and go to the other side, and we'll do the same thing. This, we're gonna have to add some. Don't want to add too much. Okay. Uh-oh, too much is coming out on its own. We'll add some and then we'll just break it off, just like that. Okay. You can do the same for all of these, because these, for some reason, this side is shorter than the other side. Okay. This one seems okay. Go. It's a little bit burning my hand now, trying to hold it at this angle. There we go. Little. Alright. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I think we're good in terms of the melt. Oh, actually, oops, stop it. There's one more I need to do. So let me turn this back on. Stop it. Let's try. Come on, stop. Stop ejecting. Stop it. You're done already. There we go. Okay, so this middle one, the larger one, we're going to put that because I can actually see the post, but the rest are gone. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're just going to put some there. A little more. Ooh, way too much. Don't need that much, so I'm going to have to melt that and cut it off. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you should be good now. Melt it a little bit more. It's a little bit tall. Don't want it sticking up through the plastic and poking on the motherboard. Okay, so we're good now. Set that aside. All right. Let me put this thing away so it's not gonna burn anything. All right. So we should be good to go. All right, and let's go ahead now and put back all the little components. So we had this sheet of whatever thermal stuff there. I believe it's like graphite. So we're gonna put this one first. If I remember correctly, went with this side like this. So let's see, how did that fit like that? Okay, so I'm just lining up these little bumps that stick up, and we're just gonna stick that back down. Okay, try and keep it as flat as possible. All right, just like that. Okay, so everything sits back down nice and flat. Next we had this piece. Okay, how did this go here? I guess this is for the keyboard if I remember, and then this is for the other piece. So let's get that through. Oh, that's what the adhesive for the keyboard is for. Okay, makes sense. All right, so we're gonna line up the two holes. Oops, let's zoom out a bit. We're gonna line up the two holes over here like that. Okay, make sure these cables are on top. Okay, be careful not to damage the keyboard. Make sure this lines up and these line up. Okay, we're gonna slowly stick that. We did forget to put back the hinges and everything, so we are gonna have to move this out of the way as we put that back. So maybe I should take this back out first. Okay, let's go ahead and take this back out first. Be careful not to tear it. Sorry for messing up the order. All right, so we'll set this aside first. Let's go ahead and get the screen. Okay, so since we're not hanging it off the desk, actually, let me see how far I can zoom out to show this. All right, so let's see. Basically, we're gonna try and do it this way so you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. We're gonna get the keyboard into there. Okay, and then what happens is if you lift this up right, you'll actually get these hinges lined up with those little plastic mounts. Okay, so that lines up there. So if you want, you can actually close it like this, but you have to hold it down in place really strong. So let's see how I can do this. It's hard to do it and trying to show it in camera. But while I'm holding this with my thumb, I'm gonna close this, okay? Just like that. There you go, we got that all in place. I'm gonna flip this over. Oops, knock this gold thing out. Okay, so we have this gold one. I might have mixed up some of the screws here. There we go, okay. So, we got this gold one here. Maybe I should zoom in a bit so you can see better. Okay, and this piece goes here. So this one, if I remember correctly, was this underneath? Oh, this actually tapes on top of this gold piece, it seems. So, oh, that goes all the way back here. Okay, so this goes all the way back here. I'm gonna put the plastic thing just in case. So that plastic sheet that we're putting back too early, I'm gonna put that first because I think this goes underneath. I'm not 100% sure. Does it, or does it go on top? Actually, it goes on top. Okay, so we have to put the copper, this thing with the copper sheet on it first. Okay, so we'll flip this back over. And we have the 4 holes here. We're gonna line up with the 4 holes there. Okay, and then there's these 2 clips that we have to kind of rock this into place. Get that lined up. All right. There we go, snap that in. Looks good. Now we can actually put back all the screws for this. All right. So where did we have those screws come from? We had 2 here, 1, 2, and then that. Okay, so I remember now. Let's go ahead and get all those screws back in. First screw up here, holding that hinge into place. Make sure it's nice and tight. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some red thread locker here just to make sure those screws don't come loose. We're only going to put a little, all right? You don't want to put too much. Less than a drop, just a touch of it. Hopefully you can see here, all right? And that's just enough to prevent the screws from loosening themselves. Okay, just like that. And we're only putting those on the hinge screws, so let's get this. Just a touch. We'll get it down there. Okay, make sure that's nice and tight. There's another hinge screw under here that attaches to this, so we're going to put the thread locker on there as well. Okay. That into place. Good. All right, we're going to get all 4 of those flat screws back in. Get in, please. There we go. Okay. Make sure that you put enough pressure that the screw doesn't just spin around. You don't want to damage the top of the screw, and then you won't be able to put it back. Okay. That in. Okay. This one. All right, looking good. And last one of the 4. All right. Then we're gonna put these back with the thread locker. Okay. Okay, just like that. All right, 2 more for the hinge. All right, get that one in there. Good. And the last one for this corner here. All right, just like that. All right, let's see here. Next thing, we're going to put back, I think it was this metal bar here. Alright, well, let's put the plastic thing first, okay? So we'll get this stuck back down because they have the adhesive there. Make sure that you push it down far enough so it's in the right place. And we'll just stick that into place here. Alright, there we go. And let's go ahead and get this piece and put that back. I need to zoom out, huh? Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Alright, we'll get this back in. We'll get the keyboard backlight cable back in. Alright. Make sure to get everything lined back up with all the cables in the right places on top. Okay, make sure the cables to the right end up on top of that plastic. And line up those two. Okay, it's the easiest one to do first since they're so close together. Then make sure all of these line up. All of those line up, and we can go ahead and stick this down. Alright, and I believe did this go on top? Because the adhesive is there, so interesting. It doesn't even reach that far. So this goes down like that and like that. Yeah, so this doesn't even reach to where it should be. Technically, it should go to this black piece of plastic, but it wasn't like that. So I'm going to put it back like that, if I remember correctly. Okay. Then we got this bar. I don't know what this white paper stuff in here is, but we'll move that aside. Okay, so this goes this way. Yeah, so this goes this way. Okay, make sure you get the screw mounts underneath here. So that slides into place just like that. Let's make sure everything looks okay. Okay, we're gonna now push that in. Make sure it's all lined up. Now we need to get these screws back. So we got those two silver and then the black ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that. All right. Zoom in a bit here. We're going to focus on one side at a time. So this screw here. Okay. And this screw here. Alright, so this will also help hold that metal plate in place so it's not going anywhere. Alright, this screw here. There we go. Alright, we're going to work our way over to the right hand side. Put the other black screw here. Okay. Got this silver screw here. This silver screw here. Alright, we're getting there. Let's go ahead and put back the USB port with the LED light and the one key recovery button. So that goes right there, right? There we go. Get that screw into place. Alright. Second one, get this screw into place. Very important you make sure all the cables that were on top end up on top. You don't want anything going underneath that shouldn't be underneath. Okay. Clean off my desk. It has all that plastic junk everywhere. Okay. Next thing we need is the motherboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the motherboard. And put it in one of these anti-static bags. Okay, so this one goes this way, and don't forget the keyboard cable. If you forget which way it was supposed to go, you can look at the old keyboard. So it goes like that, and then it curves like this. So basically it's going to attach to the motherboard like that. So what you do is you flip this over, make sure this latches up. I'm going to plug the keyboard backlight cable back in. Sucky thing about this is if you don't plug this right the first time and the keyboard doesn't light up, then you're basically going to have to take it all out again. So that kind of sucks. So make sure you get it right. Okay. It's a little bit tricky. Well, let me actually flip it over so it's easier for me to work on. So I'll put it this way. Oh, if you're wondering, I don't know if I showed this, but here's the motherboard model information. All right. I don't know if that will be useful to you or not, but might as well since we're already here. Okay. We'll get this into place. Okay, feels like it's in all the way. And we're gonna put that latch down. Hopefully that's good. We're gonna flip this over. We actually want the trackpad cable on top, I believe. So let's get this over here. Okay. And let's reline this because it went crooked a little. Okay, make sure it's in. Flip that over. Let's flip this over. Okay, so the trackpad cable ends up on top. Make sure to push the keyboard cable out from underneath as well. Okay, just like that. We'll flip this over. Hopefully the trackpad cable is staying in flat. Oh, let me double check it again. Oh, this thing wiggles too much. It's going to be almost impossible to keep it completely aligned properly. So let's see, flip that. Okay, then we're going to flip this. Make sure the keyboard cable comes out. Slowly drop that into place. Make sure these cables, make sure these cables end up on top. I'm gonna get this back over. Okay, slowly moving this downwards, get that into place. Oh, that's gonna be tough, huh? Okay, how am I gonna do this? So, I messed up. We need to take this metal bar back out. Sorry guys, I'm confusing you. This metal bar actually has to go back after the motherboard. Okay. Get that all back out. I hate this design. They force you to do too much in a specific order. So, all right. So we got all those screws back out. Let's take this metal bar back off. Okay, because the motherboard needs to go down there. All right. Let's get this. Lift it back up. I'm gonna pull the backlight cable back out first because this thing keeps flipping itself, so I'm gonna actually crease it. Okay, and hopefully it will, oh, it won't stay, so I guess, oh, that's what that adhesive's for, of course. All right, so we can peel this adhesive protective thing off. And then we're gonna stick this back down over here. Okay, so flip it that way. Stick it down. There we go. Now it will hold itself in place so I don't keep accidentally putting that on top. Okay. We're going to now rotate this over so I can get this back in the right way. Okay. And let's see. We want this to be on top, so let's get that in. Okay, and then latch that down, and that should hold it. Oh, it doesn't hold it in place as much as I would like it to. Let me double check. There's 4 pins on there. The replacement one. Okay, also 4 pins. Wonder how it held itself in place. There's no adhesive to hold this one, so it doesn't. This latch doesn't hold it tight enough. Okay, maybe I should put some adhesive to hold it, because it's not holding itself in place here. Well, alright, let's try and do this and flip it. Yeah, that's gonna move around, so I'm gonna actually put a little bit of tape here just to make sure it doesn't move around. Okay, I know that's not how it was originally, but it looks like it's gonna need it. So let's go ahead and hold that in place, get that lined up right. Put that there. Okay, I'm gonna cut a thin piece of tape, and we're just gonna stick it from that cable over to the latch. And that will hopefully hold it in place. Okay, so it doesn't wiggle around all over. Okay, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna actually cut this, and I'm gonna fold this over to make a release tab. So, just like that. I don't know if you can see, I folded that over. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure this cable goes in, flip that latch down, make sure it's lined up nice and straight. Then we're gonna actually stick this tape over it going sideways. What? Stuck it to itself, there we go. I'm gonna tape this over the side here. Okay, and it shouldn't be a problem because we're not going over any circuitry. Alright, so we got that. Since I made this release tab, now I can actually peel it up if I want, realign it, and stick it back down. There we go. And then we got this other piece of tape. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna make another release tab here. It's a little bit tricky with this tape. Come on, fold over. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna tape this here onto that connector and then over to the wire itself, and there we go. That should keep it from moving around. Now let's go ahead and flip this over. Okay, get all these wires on top, drop that into place. Okay, oops, sorry, you can't see. So we got these wires on top and dropped it into place. Here we can actually put this cable back in. I think I actually pulled it a little too far down. There we go. Make sure this is lined up all the way and flip that latch into place to lock it. Sorry if my head's getting in the way. Okay, what else do we got here? Speaker cable. Okay, make sure that goes back into that little notch area. And plug this back in. Make sure you don't flip this cable upside down. Let me actually zoom in here so you can see better. So this cable, where you can see the pins through the top, should be face up. They actually mark it with a little black dot. You don't want to put it in upside down. Alright, once you get that lined up, you can pinch it together and it clicks into place. Alright, so we got that lined up and into place. Okay, we're going to get the keyboard connector in, make sure that latch is up, flip that over, right, push that in. Okay, just like that. Make sure that the wings pass the raised area there. Hold that in place and then latch that down. Good. We got the BIOS battery, and we also got the touchpad connector. So let's flip the touchpad connector latch up and get that in. a little tricky. Go slow. You don't want to risk damaging it. Okay. There we go. Get that in. And slide your finger over the top to latch it. Okay. I'm gonna make sure it goes underneath this foam. Right. We're gonna now, well, we can plug in the CMOS battery last. Let's go ahead and get the screws down here. So there's one screw in this bottom corner here, so it doesn't move around. Am I using the, oop, no wonder why I was using a smaller screwdriver. Okay, get that and tighten that in. Okay, now I should probably double check all these screws. Oh, they're perfectly tight. Okay. I was accidentally using the PH0 screwdriver, but there we go. Oops, let's zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just tightening up all the, or checking all the screws to tighten them up. All right, we're gonna get this cable in, make sure that latches up. Get this lined up. Okay, and then just slide your finger over the top to latch it in place, just like that. This piece is like really weird. I don't know why it's like it won't sit flat. There we go. Kind of, not really. Okay, so that screw's tightened in. And get the one up here also tightened down. Good. All right, what else we got? We got the wireless card. Let's go ahead and put that. Let me zoom in. Oops, I don't know if I was off camera when I was putting that screw. Okay, wireless card, put it at an angle. Goes in place. Then you just spring it down and tighten the screw while holding it in place. All right, the wireless antennas, you want to get it lined up. So the way you know it's lined up is it actually will catch. So now if I'm like trying to move it, it stays in place. And then you can go ahead and push that into place. It should click. There we go. Don't forget the black wire, do the same thing. Click that in, there we go. All right, I don't know if these were supposed to go underneath too, but I don't think they were. Excuse me. Okay, what else we got here? So, oh yeah, okay, we got a lot of little pieces to put back. So we got this metal piece here. We're gonna put that back into place here. Okay. So get that in. Actually, that wasn't there, huh? That was in the middle here for some reason. Okay, let me make sure, because I don't want to end up putting a wrong screw somewhere, and then I'm going to have a really tough time putting anything back. Okay, we had this plastic, but we're going to put that after the fans. So this goes here, and okay. So what was holding this one? We had two screws. Did I? Oh, okay, there's not supposed to be a screw in this up corner. Okay, so that's good. Let's go ahead and put this back here. Am I going out of view? Sorry. So get that one. I'll loosely fit that screw. And I'll loosely fit this screw. If you didn't see, I put this screw earlier. Sorry if it was out of view. It's hard to see what I'm doing while I'm focusing on working. Alright, so we got all of that. What else? We got the hard drive that we need to put back, so let's go ahead and put that. That one goes here, so I need to move stuff out of my way. Okay, 2.5-inch SATA hard drive goes here. Let's zoom out a little. Okay, hopefully that's out enough. Take the hard drive, make sure the latch is up, line this up, get that in. Flip the latch over, and go ahead and drop this into place. There's a little foam. Oops, zoom out. There's a little foam down here. So make sure that you put it behind that foam or in front of the foam, and then you can squeeze it back this way to drop it in place. Okay. Alright, let's get all these screws in. 1, 2. Make sure you get them in nice and tight. You don't want them coming loose. I've seen some customers where the screws were just rolling around inside and then it fried their motherboard, so you want to make sure everything is nice and tight. Okay, good. Alright, then we got the M.2 SSD here. Alright, it's a PCIe NVMe again, so get it in at an angle like that. Push it in. Get the screw. Lower it down. Tighten that into place. Alright, we're almost there. So, next, we're going to get the back piece again that I put way too earlier. Okay, get that lined up. It just slides into place here. Just like this. Good. And now we'll get all these screws in. The 2 silver ones here. Okay, just like that. The longer black one here into the hinge. If you want, you can actually add a little thread locker to this as well. So I'll actually do that just to make sure it doesn't come loose. Right, and you only want to put a little. This stuff, I've been told it can make plastic brittle, so you want to be careful not to overflow it and get it into the plastic screw mounts. These longer screws are actually going into metal, so it's not into the plastic, so don't worry about it. Alright, but you don't want to put like a crazy amount. You just put a tiny bit, just like that. Okay, I don't know if you can even see, it's only on one side. Alright, they used the blue one originally, if you notice. That's why the screws have some blue stuff on them. But yeah, alright. So I'll set that aside. Alright. Oh, we forgot 2 more silver screws for this one. Don't forget those. Again, if you want, you don't even have to put back these screws, because then in the future you could easily just slide this out. But I don't know why you would need to do that, so I guess might as well just put them back. Oh, then you won't have to take this out to get this cover off. But the way it is right now, you have to actually redo all the thermal paste whenever you want to do that. Okay, so we got all of that. Now we need to put back the fans and the heat sinks. I'm going to clean this off real quick with some paper towels off. I'm going to use it, clean it off into the trash can next to me. Then we're going to use some rubbing alcohol with paper towel to clean it up completely. I'll be back for that part, and then we'll just stick this back on top. It is dusty a little here underneath, so I'm going to clean that as well. And yeah, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So let's go ahead and get this all... Oops, I forgot. I cleaned out the dust, but I forgot to clean out the thermal paste. So you can see the fans are a lot cleaner now. Okay, alright, so let me clean out that thermal paste and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So we cleaned off the paste from there. So what we're going to do now is use some 91% isopropyl alcohol. We're going to clean up this part, and these. Alright, with a clean piece of paper towel. So we're going to do that. I have a little spray bottle, but you can just always just pour it on as well. Alright, so we're just going to clean this. And clean this. Right, we don't want the thermal paste, old thermal paste still there. It was all dried up and crusty. So we gotta clean that off. Okay. Then dry it up. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the heatsink. Just clean that off. Alright. We'll dry it up. Same thing over here. Clean it up. Okay, and dry it up. And there we go. Got that all cleaned up. Okay, so we're going to add some new thermal paste here. Alright, so you actually don't need to use a crazy amount. Let me actually zoom in so I can show you. Let me move this to a better position. All right, so here you can see. All right, motherboard, GPU, and CPU. Let's actually blow the dust off of it. We don't want to leave the dust there. All right, all the lint. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put a line here. The pressure from the heatsink will actually spread the stuff out, so you don't need to actually pre-spread it. Some people like to do that, but you don't actually need to do that. All right, CPU, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to rotate it so it's easier for me to do it. And you don't need a crazy amount either. Just like that should be enough. Okay. So this one, like about a long grain of rice. Okay. And then the other one just a bit thicker. So when we put the heatsink on top, it'll basically push out all the air bubbles and we'll spread it flat into like an oval. All right. And that's what you want. So no air bubbles will be trapped. All right. So this one, similar, just bigger. Okay. Just like this. All right. And then when we put the thing on top, it'll smash it all flat and we'll spread it evenly. If you're not really sure how much to put, one thing you could do is you can put a very thin layer across the whole thing and then put a little bit like this, so that way it will push all the rest and all the air bubbles out. All right, but anyways, that's all we need. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and put the heatsink and everything back into place. So I'm gonna take this, we have to put it in at an angle like this. All right, carefully lower this while sliding it back into place. You might have to lift it and wiggle it around to get it in right. Okay, it's a little bit tricky because the little edge, the diagonal corners here, but just work it in there. There we go. Okay, and then once you got it in place, make sure these screws are dropping lined up. Slowly lower it down. Make sure none of these cables are underneath. Then we're going to screw these in order. They actually have numbers on them. So let's see, 6, 7, this one's hidden, 4, 5, 2. They didn't really number these, so these got trapped. So 1, 2, most likely this is 1, 2, and 3, but it's all covered up. So what I like to do is I twist it backwards. You'll hear it click. I don't know if you actually, hopefully you can hear it click. Let me, over here. Okay, so hopefully you can hear it click. And then I go 1, 2, 3. All right, we're gonna go to the second one. Click, 1, 2, 3. Third one, click, 1, 2, 3. Fourth one, click, 1, 2, 3. Right, usually you go diagonal here. Right, but I guess not because this is 5. 1, 2, 3. All right, 6. Click, 1, 2, 3. 7, click, 1, 2, 3. And then we're just going to go through again. So first one, 1, 2, okay. Oh, that actually tightened it all the way. So we're going to go to the second one now. Tighten it all the way. Third one, tighten that all the way. Fourth one, tighten that all the way. Fifth one, tighten that. 6, tighten it. 7, tighten that. All right, and the springs in here should slowly over time be keeping pressure on here to slowly spread out the thermal paste. And then check one more time, make sure all these are tightened. All right, they should be good to go. There we go. All right, next we're gonna plug in the fan connector. Again, make sure the metal pins are exposed on top that you can see, so you don't wanna flip it upside down. And then they actually even paint a little white dot on there. All right, so we're gonna push that, and then once it's lined up, pinch the two pieces together. There we go. And then this one, basically you want these little plastic parts facing the back. You can actually see on this connector there's hollow or holes there for this to go in, and you want the metal pins facing towards the front this way, towards this direction, all right, towards the trackpad. So get that lined up, right, and then go from both sides here and just click that in. There we go. All right, don't forget the BIOS or CMOS battery connector here. Get that lined up. Same thing, make sure the little metal pins are facing up, so you don't want to plug this in upside down. Okay, and then pinch that together. All right, so here you can see the keyboard cable's a lot better. It's closer, so hopefully now the battery won't interfere. We're gonna zoom out a bit. Okay, I don't know if this plastic piece will go back on, but we'll find out. All right, so we'll get this lined up. It's all that dust is like just rolling off of it. So let me try and dust it a little bit more. Okay. All right, so let's get this lined up again. Okay, it should be like that and like this. Oops. And then this little angle goes at this rubber piece, and I don't know why that's not lined up, but somebody stuck it on wrong before, I guess. And then this also lines up with this little hole there. Then you can go ahead and stick that down. Okay. And it should hold itself in place. All right, all that's left now is the battery. So I don't know what I'm going to use as a thumbnail. I guess we'll see, probably the keyboard thing. Okay, so there we go. We do have 4 more screws that we didn't put back. I probably shouldn't have put the plastic yet, so let's go ahead and put those screws holding the fan down. So 1 screw there. Okay, underneath there should be another here. Yep. Okay, don't forget that screw. All right, and on the other side we have 2 as well. 1 up here. Okay, and then underneath the plastic, 1 more here. All right, there we go. Put that back down. Let's go ahead and get the battery. Again, you want the white dot facing up, so red wires going to this side and the black wires going that way. I probably shouldn't have put this yet because it's blocking all the stuff, but oh, let me zoom in here so you can see better. Okay, so the connector's there. Just get that lined up. Make sure it's going in nice and straight. You don't want it crooked. Okay, and then pinch the 2 together just like that. Looks good. Okay, put that back down. All right, let's zoom out a bit here. Let's show the battery. Then we'll just get the battery all lined up. Okay, line up the little piece down here and then line up over here. Oh, you can actually see it's actually still pushing on the keyboard, so hopefully it's not going to go bad over time like the other one. But if it does, I mean, we can't really do much to change that. So let's go ahead and tighten the screws. Okay, just like this. 5 screws holding this thing in. Okay, maybe there should be a spacer between the battery and there, but right, that's how they designed it, so hopefully it will be good. We'll test the keyboard and everything. All right, last screw up here that goes inside. Good. I need to tighten this one all the way. All right, and let's go ahead now and put back on the bottom cover. So let's zoom out. Here you can see the laptop here. Sorry, it's wobbling around. All right, so we're gonna get this part in first at an angle, just like that. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and click everything else down into place. Good. And then we'll get all the screws back in. So I got the 2 back here. Okay, I don't know why they need so many screws holding this metal back piece in place, but they do. All right, oh, my battery is running low, so the flash turned off. But anyways, that's pretty much all there is to this. Excuse me. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. if it helped you save a bunch of money, which hopefully it did, don't forget, if you can, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, these are customer computers, so I won't have it most likely by the time you see this video. And this model, it's such a pain. I have a feeling nobody's going to be doing the keyboard replacement, at least not the complete one like I did. Maybe it will help somebody do it, but we'll see. Alright, it requires too many different types of tools that most people probably won't have. But yeah, other than that, you're welcome to stay as I put back the rest of the screws. I am going to power it up and check, make sure that the keyboard is working okay. Also, because we removed the BIOS battery, the date and time is probably going to be reset. So make sure to set the date and time, otherwise the internet's not going to work right. Alright, and then what's the last thing? Yeah, it might also take a while to boot up because the battery was disconnected, but we'll see. Alright, hopefully it will power up okay and I won't need to plug it in. If not, I'm going to have to go find one of those chargers, because I don't know if the customer left theirs with me. I don't think they did. Alright, let's power it up. I see this light came on for like a second, then it turned off. And it's turning itself back on. Alright, I see the keyboard is actually lit up, so they have the nice black and red keyboard, so the keyboard backlight did work. Alright, we have this light is still on, but there's nothing on the screen right now. It's still starting up, most likely because the BIOS was reset. If you leave it on like this for a long time and nothing ever happens, oh, it just lit up and there's a little blinky cursor. Okay, so it should be good. You can see the Legion, and then we'll wait, see the little spinning. Yep. Alright, so it should be good, but if for some reason yours still isn't booting up or it's beeping or something, the first thing you want to check is the RAM. Make sure you seated it properly or didn't damage it. That's the most common culprit that prevents the computers from starting up properly. So the arrow key worked. I'm going to have to ask them for their password. But other than that, usually after any major hardware, I like to do a restart. So click the little button here and then do a restart just to be safe. Restart anyways. Alright, and that should be it. So again, hopefully this video helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.